Can I have your name, age, and ethnicity, please?
My name is Antonio Luna. I'm 21 years old and I'm Mexican American.
Where were you born?
I was born here in the United States in the city of Pomona.
Where were your parents born?
Both of my parents are from the state of Michoacan in Mexico.
Okay. Was most of your family born in Mexico?
Yes. Other than my cousins, yes, my family is born in Mexico.
How well do you know about your parents' lives when they lived in Mexico?
Well, from the stories they tell me, uh, you know, I could say I don't know a lot, but I know certain things from their childhoods and how they were raised.
Okay, and did your family or your parents come from wealthy families, lower class families? How was your parents' childhoods when they lived in Mexico?
My mother's childhood, they were a very poor family. My grandpa had to work hard to bring food to the table every day. And on my dad's side, they were a wealthy family, but when my great grandfather passed away, my grandpa was too small to receive any of the fortune, so therefore my dad didn't raise in as wealthy as his cousins did.
Okay. Why did your parents want to immigrate to the United States?
Uh, my my father wanted to come to the United States because he wanted a better life for my grandma and grandpa and his brothers and sisters. Because he came at a very young age. He came when he was 16 years old. So he basically did it for them at the time.
And your mom?
My mom, she came later on after they got married, so she wanted to come with him to raise a better family here than they would be able to over there.
Okay. How did they immigrate to the United States, and are they citizens now?
Both my parents, when my dad came his first time, he immigrated illegally. My mother did as well. And what was the part?
And are they citizens now?
Yes. Well, my father is a U.S. citizen and my mom is a resident.
Okay, and how did your father obtain his citizenship?
He obtained it by the Reform Act of 1986. Yeah.
Okay, so how much do you know about the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986?
I don't know much about it, but from what I do know is that it helped a lot of families just like mine out. It allowed a lot of immigrants during that time to become citizens and have the privileges that every other American has.
Okay. Do you feel it would have been a lot harder for your father to obtain his citizenship if it wasn't for the amnesty?
Yeah, I feel like it would have because to become a citizen or even a resident, it's very complicated. It's a very complicated process. It takes time. It takes years. So I feel like it would have been much harder for him to obtain it.
How do you feel about immigration laws today?
Um, I I I really don't. I do feel like a lot of the laws are a bit off the wall. They're not too. What can I say? They're just not very. God.
Welcoming, or they're too harsh,
They're too harsh. They're too harsh on a lot of immigrants because a lot of the laws makes them seem like they're criminals or whatnot. When a lot of the times they're not. They're just here for better lives, for their families.
Okay. And do you believe students who are immigrants and who do not have American citizenship, do you believe that they should be first in line to obtain citizenship here? And why, if you do think so, or why, if you don't think so?
You know what? To me, honestly, it should be all equal. I mean, if you're a student or if you're a an older person just working, reason being because either way, both of them are going to contribute to the economy by paying their taxes, doing what every other American does. So I think that if they're first or if they're not, it really doesn't matter.
Okay. Do you think there should be another act like the one from 1986?
Yeah, there should be another one. But with that happening, there should be a lot of regulations to it, because by doing that, you're allowing people from other countries, not just Mexico, not just Latin America, but from Europe, who can be a threat to the country or be a threat to the communities in the United States. So I think we should, if that were to happen, we should definitely require a lot of information from the person before allowing them to become a U.S. Citizen.
Okay, and with that, the Immigration Reform and Control Act of 1986 wasn't only to let immigrants in, it was also to tighten security at the borders, and that would entail a lot of tax money coming from the American citizens' pockets. It would mean raising taxes, and also if we were to grant citizenship to immigrants, they would then come and they would be available to obtain benefits such as government assistance, housing, and things like that. So do you believe that there should be regulations more than just having a certain amount of information from the person who's trying to obtain their citizenship, or do you think that they should only be allowed to come into the United States with certain privileges, or what do you think about that?
Well, there definitely needs to be. They should, you know what they should? They should be able to come to the country with. I'm not gonna say certain privileges, but there should be like a restriction of certain things to them, or if they're gonna acquire one of the some of the benefits that the government gives. I think there should be, like I said, information asked for them for what they're gonna use it, or keep in touch with them to see if they're using the benefit for what it's intended.
Okay. Would you still say people from ethnic backgrounds such as yours or any others still face discrimination today?
Oh yeah, definitely. Racism is something that, or discrimination is something we're not gonna change ever. So I definitely do think that we do face it. I faced it. Pretty sure a lot of my buddies have faced it.
Okay, and how do you think they still are discriminated against today?
Because a person is illegal, I've noticed, I haven't noticed, but I've heard and I've seen on the news that they pay the immigrant less money than they would pay a U.S. citizen, because the fact that he's an immigrant. So most of the times the immigrant assumes that because he is an immigrant, he doesn't have rights, or he won't be protected by the law. So people usually take advantage of them, and that's discrimination in my words. A lot of times also just color of your skin makes people think differently about you. Meaning just because you're brown skinned and you have a bald head doesn't mean that you belong to something, sort of in a gang or anything. And a lot of people usually think that about Hispanic people.
Okay, and since you are a first generation born here in the United States, how do you feel that differentiates you from others who have parents that were born here in the United States? Do you feel that it gave you a certain edge? Do you feel like it held you back in certain areas? How do you, if you can expand a little bit on how you feel that has affected you and your lifestyle
You know what,
as you've grown up?
I think that's made me, in a sense, a better person, because, I see where I came from. I know where I came from. I know what my parents went through. I know what their parents went through. as growing up, not having enough money. So it just gave me that edge to be happy with what I have. It makes me appreciate what I have, and it just thanks to that I know Spanish. I speak my native language. Like I said, I know my roots, and it makes me feel proud of what I am.
And has it held you back in any ways?
I don't think it has. But like I said, but because of that, a lot of times people discriminate against you.
So how familiar are you with laws today regarding, illegal immigrants, and how familiar are you with just any law that obtains to any immigrant here in the United States or any immigrant trying to enter the United States?
I'm not too familiar, but the ones I do hear, which are the common ones, which should be like, you know, secure all borders. That would be like one of the most common ones, is to keep immigrants out. So I really don't know any big laws out there supporting or going against illegal immigration, but.
Okay, so there is a lot of talk about President Obama trying to have another act passed, just like the one in 1986. That Immigration Reform and Control Act did benefit a lot of immigrants and gave them their citizenship, but they also did end that for a reason. And do you believe history repeats itself? Do you believe that this act being passed would be exactly the same as the one passed in 1986, or do you believe that now that we've come a little bit further, about 2 decades or so, that there would be more detail put into it, there would be more thought about it, and there would be a lot more rules and regulations that would help benefit the immigrants and the United States as well?
You know what? I don't think history repeats itself. Nothing ever happens twice the same way. But this Reform Act that they are trying to make, or that President Obama is in the process of bringing up, I think it's gonna have more regulations in it, and it's gonna affect and it's gonna benefit a lot of people. It's gonna benefit in the fact that more taxes are gonna be paid, or it's gonna be more illegal workers, so more taxes are gonna be paid. But it's also gonna affect that job-wise. A lot of people who are from the United States will have certain jobs taken away from them from other people, which is not bad. But right now there's not many jobs for the people that are here. So by doing that, I think it'll create some sort of conflict.
Okay. Well, that pretty much sums everything up. The main point of my interview for you was just to get a person who is first generation born here in the United States. I want to get your views on immigration. I want to get your views on how you feel that has built you as a person or tore you down as a person. And I also just wanted to see how much you know about immigration laws, since you are very close to immigration and illegal immigrants coming into the United States. So I just wanted to get a first-hand look at someone even a little bit younger. I can go ahead and I can ask an immigrant how they feel about laws and everything like that. And of course they're going to have their own beliefs, but I think it's always nice to get into the mind of a college student and see how they feel and see how they think and what goes on.
It was nice. It was nice being part of this.
Thank you.
Thank you.